Hi, and welcome to the Reading for Plot podcast. Remember, these are brief little sessions that are to help you to think about and to conceptualize what we're discussing in class. For this podcast, we're going to be focused on plot. Now, most of you understand that plot is an organizing principle that provides unity for the work. It is the way that a story is told, whether it be in a poem or in a piece of fiction or in a dramatic theatrical production. But let's get a couple designations kind of established first. One, story is the brief synopsis of what happens in a work. It's when we say this happens, and then this happens, and then that happens, where that is called story. Now, plot is a little more in depth and in detail. It's when we say how this is related to that by causes and motivations, and in what ways all these matters are rendered, ordered, and organized so as to achieve their particular effects. Now, of course, we have a great variety of plot forms. We have tragic effects, we have romantic effects, we have satirical effects, we have all these other types of effects that allow us to speak about genre or types or categories of work. Now, knowing genres is always helpful, but understanding how plot interacts with genre is going to be key. Now, remember, plot is really motivated by effects. Here is a basic plot structure overview, and you can see that we move from the beginning with the background, the setting, and the routines established to the middle, where overcoming obstacles, trying to get something done, solving a problem takes precedence, and then in the end, where there are new ways, new routines, and a resolution to that problem established. That, of course, is an Aristotelian, one of my favorite words, way of looking at the basic plot structure of a work. Now, we can go into a more in-depth detail with exposition, rising action, climax, and denouement, or falling action. If we take, for instance, as in this handout, Cinderella, and you move through Cinderella's life before she tries, but she does not succeed. She goes to the ball and falls in love, but she has to leave. The prince tries shoes on girls' feet and ultimately on Cinderella's foot, and then, of course, she marries the prince and lives happily ever after. Now, this is one great way to look at plot. Now, we also have Gustav Freytag, who builds on some of Aristotle's work. He builds on the notion of the unity of action, because unity of action was something that Aristotle contended was very important as far as having a artistic whole to a work. Many elements of unity of action are kind of corresponding to the way that the plot depicts the story and gets the ideas out for the reader or the watcher. The order of a unified plot is a continuous sequence of beginning, middle, and end. As you can look here with Freytag, you'll see that the beginning leads to the complication, rising action, to the climax, crisis, reversal, middle, to the denouement, falling action, to the end. And that this is the way that we create a plot with a unity of action. You can see particularly that there is there's a sense of movement, a sense of progression in Freytag as there is in Aristotle. Remember, there can often be dual plots or a polyphonic plot in a work. This structural unity can be achieved with double plots, even though Aristotle did not suggest this, but this definitely has occurred in recent fiction. What you can see here is a very basic handout that you could possibly augment for yourself. I will be sending it around and also posting it on the website. It's very simple. It is something that will augment itself well to your understanding of plot. Now, for our purposes of plot, we're going to be thinking a lot about the notion of the design and intention of a narrative. Because we are speaking about trauma and the various ways that these traumatic events affect an individual's understanding